It's Thursday. Welcome on into Let's Bet It. I am back in Atlanta. And boy, oh boy, Jared Smith, does it feel good to be home? How was your day yesterday? How did all of your college bets go?
Crazy. So 4-4. I gave out 8 picks, of course, and then one of the games, Prairie View A&M against Alcorn State. I
The
mean,
game that everyone was talking about.
everyone wanted a piece of this
Yeah.
game. Prairie View money line. They were up 3 in the final seconds, and the guy had the ball ready to throw it down full court for like a game-sealing dunk, and at the last moment, like an Alcorn State guy, like stuck up his fingertips, deflected it. It went right to another Alcorn State player, buried the 3, went to overtime, lost in overtime.
No.
I wouldn't recommend anyone watching the last like 5 minutes of that game and then overtime because it was ugly. That's what
Yeah.
happens when you get the SWAC. But it was exciting nonetheless. And other than that, ups and downs. I can't get a POD right to save my life.
Jared.
I
Yes.
know. Bad. It's getting bad right now.
Like so many other bets, and then the play of the day just womps.
Exactly. And it's a good argument for like, even if it's like our play of the day, units across the board. Everything's a unit. It doesn't matter if it's the play of the day. I understand we have to designate one for corporate reasons. It's in our contract. But it don't like put like 10 units on that and then like 1 on everything else because all picks are created equal.
I know. My dad texted me I wake up to a text from my dad this morning. And he said, ugh, that play of day. Please consult with me.
Play of day. I love how dad's like the parents don't understand proper grammar in text messages.
My dad texted me.
Mr. Jabara.
Yeah. He goes, consult with me on ACC. I loved Boston College yesterday. Winky face.
Really?
Of course you did, Dad.
Well, Mr. Jabara, my play of the day is in the ACC.
Oh.
So if it's not something that he approves of, I probably will hear about it tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll get a text message and then we'll reconvene tomorrow. But we do have a lot to talk about today. A lot of different sports that we're getting into. NFL news, more quarterback trades going on yesterday. Things are heating up. There literally is not a day off in the NFL. We have NHL Ice Picks, 13 games on the slate tonight. Things getting spicy down the final stretch of the season. College basketball, we have Jim Root on again. Our pleasure. We have him on twice in 1 week. This is amazing. We love it. And we're breaking down some of the games that, we've watched the last couple of days, what we've seen so far from the conference tournaments, and what we're expecting tonight and going into this weekend from some of those college basketball games. There's so many on right now. NBA morning radar, only 2 games on the slate tonight, but 2 massive games, one of them being the Nets taking on the Philadelphia 76ers, a game that everyone's kind of had circled on their calendars the last couple of weeks. Then we can't end without our 3-star play of the day and then our best bets of the day. Hopefully our pods, this is the day, Jared. This is the day. Let's get going. Let's get it. Let's bet it. Let's start with NFL. So the Washington Commanders officially got Carson Wentz from the Indianapolis Colts. Now you look at the books, Jared, and the Commanders are actually worse with Carson Wentz to win the Super Bowl. They went from 60-1 to 75-1 odds to win the Super Bowl. Great move by the Washington Commanders.
It's a freaking joke. When I saw it yesterday, there's some odds makers that are prominent on social media. They most odds makers back in the day wouldn't tweet this out in a million years because it would, they don't want to be giving out information. But now they like being in the public eye a little bit more because it, brings attention to their book and there's so much competition. So there's a few bookmakers that are very active and entertaining, frankly, on social media, and you get a glimpse into what they think.
Yeah.
One of the prominent bookmakers at Win that is very entertaining immediately tweeted that out from 60 to 75, which kind of broke gambling Twitter for like a minute. It was, what else can you say? And poor Carson Wentz, signed the big contract in Indy. That was the big part of this for me, was that the Colts offloaded his entire contract. Obviously, the Colts motivated sellers. Obviously, the Commanders, which still seems weird saying, very motivated buyers. If you have any friends in the real estate business, when you're a motivated buyer, you're likely going to overpay for that piece of property. And I think that's what the Colts did. The Washington Commanders did. They took his entire contract, which is a massive contract.
Yes.
And the Colts get draft picks back. They get freedom of movement now with their salary cap. Ballard's not.
What is it? It's a second and a third round draft pick.
That's good. I mean,
I know that's good, but is that worth the like? Is Carson Wentz like they're saying that he's worth only a second and third?
No, he's not worth any of that. Like I said, the Washington Commanders were motivated buyers. They missed out on Patrick Mahomes when they asked about him a couple of years ago. They missed out on Russell Wilson. Clearly, just went to Denver. They're sitting there, they're like, well, what are we going to do? They didn't really have a really great quarterback situation last year. They were very desperate, and they felt they were one player away, and now they're stuck with Carson Wentz. I don't like the move. The odds don't like the move.
Carson Wentz has left 2 teams on bad terms in the last 2 years, if you think about it. Not like bad terms, but like
it's tough to say the Indy thing is bad terms because I don't think he had a bad year. He just had like 1 or 2 really bad games that were like, or a few bad moments. Also for the Colts, 5 different quarterbacks now in 5 years. Darius Leonard put out this tweet, which I thought was very impactful. It's the Colts are in an interesting spot too, because they're in a very easy division that they could easily win if they had a quarterback, because they've got the rest of the roster intact. So I think it's another day at the wild, wild west of the NFL, which just wait till Friday and Deshaun Watson's news breaks. It's going to, continue.
I think week 18 loss did it for him.
That was it.
I think another thing was, who were they playing that one week when he, I think like the owner really didn't like that he didn't get vaccinated and then he tested positive for COVID. Who was playing that week? I forgot. But I just think that him and the ownership, the Raiders, thank you, Justin. I think that him and the ownership just didn't have that great of a relationship. And that's why they just wanted him out of there. I think it had to do, with his football skills, but also at the same time, it had to do with just, I remember reading an article about Carson Wentz requesting an interview with the Colts owner, and he denied the interview for like 2 weeks or something because he was out of town. They talked later, but it was like he denied like talking to Carson Wentz because they wanted to Carson wanted to mull things over or something. I just don't think the relationship was there. And so the Colts really wanted to get him out, and Washington really wanted to bring someone in. So that's what happened there. Well, you look at the NHL now, 13 games on the slate tonight. Not a lot of times we see 13 games in the league being played in one night. Jared, are you on any games today? Do you want me to talk about my Rangers pick and you can tell me?
Well, I mean, I think the NHL vibes that I've gotten lately have been very selective. There are certain spots that I like. You're on one of them. I'll give you one more spot that I was looking at tonight. I have not bet it. I'm thinking about betting it. I've got a lot of my bankroll tied up in college basketball right now, which, listen, that makes sense. But I think the Flames against the Lightning are worth a look. I do like betting on good teams when they're facing other good teams. And I think the odds are,
you just get better value. There's such a discrepancy when good teams play bad teams and the value of like just how hockey lines work out in general with the puck line, with the money line. Like it's just hard to get good value when it's a great team playing a bad team. And I also feel like there's a big discrepancy between the good teams in the NHL.
Totally agree. And I think Tampa's a really good team, but I don't think they're playing as well as the Flames are right now.
Yeah.
I think Vasilevsky's a step behind Markstrom's been unbelievable. Mm-hmm. We've discussed this Flames team at length. Obviously, I'm invested in the futures market. And I think that's a lot of, I feel good about that investment. I don't need to bet on them every night because it's the same thing. But tonight's one of those nights where they're basically a pick 'em. In fact, I see them in, certain spots as a slight underdog at home, where they've been great against Tampa, who, is also really good, but I think Calgary's playing better. So that's the only spot besides your spot that I would look at tonight. Calgary at home as a very short underdog.
Calgary has been red hot lately. They're hitting their stride at the right time of the season. Let me tell you. The other two, I'm looking at 2 other spots. One of them is actually my play of the day, so I'm going to save that for a little while. It's the Avalanche game. They are taking.
I wonder what you're betting.
What?
I wonder what you're betting in the Avalanche game.
Stop. We'll wait till play of the day, Jared. Don't jump the gun on that one, okay? Thank you. They're playing in Carolina against the Hurricanes. But the other game I'm looking at is the Rangers taking on the Blues. Anytime the Rangers are dogs with Shesterkin between the pipes, you bet them. Hands down. That's it. Rangers money line at plus 105. The Blues are in the second place in the Central right now. New York climbed into a tie in the second place in the Metro. They're right behind the Carolina Hurricanes for that number one spot. The Rangers coming off of a loss to the Wild, but Ville Husso has been playing well. He just seems to kind of be running out of gas this season for the Blues late in the season, and Cam Talbot just isn't playing great either. But Ville Husso lost 3 of his last 5 starts, and in all 5 of those starts, he's allowed at least 3 goals or more. Now, Shesterkin, he's been impossible to beat between the pipes. He leads the NHL in goals against average and save percentage, and he has a strong case, like Jared was talking about the other day, for the Hart Trophy this year. And what was it, like 5 or 6 years ago that Carey Price won the Hart Trophy?
Yeah.
Between the pipes, 78% of their wins have come with Shesterkin between the pipes this season. I just think that that's going to give the Rangers a strong chance to pull out a road win. Enough said. Shesterkin. That's it. Rangers money line plus 105 against the St. Louis Blues in St. Louis. Lock it in. You like it, Jared?
Yeah, I love it. I'm betting it. I'm telling you.
Let's go.
I never know if you could tell the lines when they think Shesterkin's going to be in net.
Yeah.
In St. Louis, the fact that this game is basically a pick 'em. I mean, it's a little slight underdog for the Rangers, but for the most part, it's a very tight line. To me, that is very, very, very bullish on Shesterkin playing tonight, and that tells me that's the only bet you can make there.
Yeah, lock it in, baby. Rangers money line. It's happening. All right, Let's get into some college basketball because things are heating up. Jared's been loving it. He loves the unders right now at the
I do love the unders.
Frisco Disco. Let's bring in Jim Root, college basketball analyst of the 3manweave.com and the Field of 68 podcast. Jim, crazy stuff been happening. We just talked to you a couple days ago, but first couple nights of the conference tournaments, what are some of your biggest takeaways that you've seen so far?
They're kind of out of their minds right now. Absolutely insane stuff. Especially yesterday, I tweeted from our 3-9 Weave handle, but there were 4 different games that had a 95% or greater win probability in the final 3 minutes and had a comeback. And there were actually five total yesterday, which is over 10% of the games played. There was like a furious, crazy, historic type of comeback. And that's just the first day. That's Wednesday. Let's see what happens Thursday. Let's see what happens Friday. I'm sure we're going to have more of this insanity. It truly is the aptly named madness of March here.
It is madness of March. And it kind of started at the end of February when we saw some of those top teams like losing games that one weekend. Jared, what are some of your biggest takeaways so far from last night?
Echo Jim's thoughts for sure. I was on the wrong end of a couple of those.
Hey, we can't all be perfect, Jared. We can't all be perfect.
No. And that, to me, that is a takeaway for sure. There's a lot of people watching this show probably betting on college basketball this March for the first time. Do not get discouraged if you're looking at your bet and it's like, oh, this is over. They're up 15 with 8 minutes left, and then you end up losing. Don't, woe is me, I'm never going to win a bet ever again, blah, blah, blah. Losing in insane, absurd, gut-wrenching, neck-twisting, mind-bending ways, that is part of this week and month.
Yeah.
So just absorb it, enjoy it as much as you can. You will be on the other side of a few as well. I promise, if you continue to bet volume like we do on this show for sure, and just roll with it, because it's really 2 weeks. And then once we get to next weekend, after the round of 32, and we get a Sweet 16, there's only 15 games left. So it's really this next little week stretch right here that is very, very heavy, and you just buckle up and grit your teeth and pull all-nighters like I did, handicapping the games, right, Jim?
Yeah, don't count your money either. Like, if you think you're up 10 and you're like, oh, I'm good, moneyline parlay, I'm fine.
No.
Nothing is safe. Nothing is safe.
Okay, so March Madness, well, it already is March Madness, but the tournament officially starts 7 days from today. So that's a week from today. That's a week from today, baby, on St. Patrick's Day. It's going to be a great day. I'm actually so looking forward to it. Jim, are there any teams right now that are locked into March Madness that might gear down these next 7 days, not be pushing as hard in the conference tournaments just to keep themselves fresh and healthy heading into next Thursday?
Yeah, there's 2 I wanted to mention here. One is Houston, which is a little more difficult because their seed is kind of dicey right now. They need big wins to to actually lock themselves up into a higher seed. Their metrics kind of outpace their resume right now, but they only really play 7 guys, basically 3 guards. It would probably be a disservice to them if they played 3 games in 3 days and wore those guys down right before the tournament. I wouldn't recommend that. But then right on that same wavelength is Baylor, which I think Jared also kind of brought up internally, but behind the scenes here, they are basically playing 7 guys as well. And the Big 12 is grueling. It's physical. It's not for the faint of heart. So having 3 games in 3 days for them, also heading towards the NCAA tournament, it reminds me a little of 2019 Virginia that was playing like 7 guys. Maybe went for it a little too much in the tournament. DeAndre Hunter breaks his hand. They lose to a 16 seed. So that's kind of the cautionary tale of, if you're thin, maybe these conference tournaments aren't the most important thing. You should probably be ramping up towards March Madness instead. So Houston and Baylor were the 2 I thought were worth mentioning. Baylor particularly so, Jared, because their odds for their seed are pretty well locked in right now.
Yeah, that's the one. The other one's Arizona. So if you look at FanDuel right now, they do have odds who's going to be the number 1 seed. I do think, or the number 1 seeds, plural, they don't have a top overall seed. Although there is a top overall seed for the tournament, so maybe they can offer that. But I'm assuming it would be either Arizona or Baylor at this point. With Arizona, listen, they've got the talent. They're super young. I don't know if I was Arizona's head coach, I would be worried about, the NCAA tournament too, because this week means nothing. They're minus 1450 to be a 1 seed. Can't be any higher than a 1 seed. There's nothing to gain other than pride, confidence, experience from winning this week. So those are the 2 teams I would say stay away from, especially as big, heavy favorites, which Arizona likely will be in at least one of their games. Just because you just don't know what the coach is saying to them in the locker room. Like, hey, guys, let's not get hurt this week because next week matters a hell of a lot more and we have nothing to gain. If that being said, I don't want to lay 10 with Arizona against some Pac-12 team tomorrow or tonight, whenever they play. So that's kind of the strategy with some of those bigger name teams where the seeds are locked up and those teams really have nothing to play for this week other than pride.
Going right off that, Arizona Gonzaga in their semifinal game was up 24, got backdoored really hard by a feisty San Francisco team. So I can see that happening to Arizona too, where it's like, all right, we're up 20. Let's take the starters out, rest them for tomorrow, and boom, suddenly you're not happy about your minus 17 bet or whatever it is.
That's why it's tough betting some of these big spreads, especially in these conference tournament games. Jim, I'm looking at some of your bets for tonight. One of them that I was looking at, that I was thinking about betting, I want to hear more about your thoughts. Michigan State laying 2.5 against Maryland. I just feel like this is Izzo's time of the year, right? This is a favorable matchup for them.
Yeah, that's kind of like the common consensus, and it hasn't been as strong a trend in probably the last 5 or so years of the like Izzo and March sort of thing. But this particular number, I just think is wrong. I thought they just played on Sunday. Michigan State was -6 at home. I thought it was low. Michigan State got up 18-1, ended up winning by 10. So, hey, I was kind of right there.
Yeah.
I feel the same thing here. Like it's the spread translated from that game seems correct, 2.5, 3, but I still think it's low, just like I thought it was low Sunday. I think they're better. I think they have a lot more to play for. They are not a team that's really thin in terms of depth, so they're not worried about resting. They're definitely thinking about their seed. Maryland's playing with a lame duck coach. I'm not as into the Terps in a postseason setting. I like Michigan State. I'll lay the 2.5 there.
Yeah. Some of your other bets for tonight too. Just go through them for us because there's a lot of games on tonight.
A lot of games on tonight. Yes.
I'm in the process of locking some of them in right now.
All right. Well, then I'll really get this soliloquy and drag it out so you have time.
No, you're good. I already locked them all in.
All right, good. I have the under in South Florida UCF, 126.5. These two are constantly playing under games. Both games this season went under 5 of the last 6 meetings. They're big rivals, so that certainly slows the game down. There's valuing possessions. South Florida is the worst 3-point shooting team in the entire country, under 25%. Wow. Historically bad, like one of the worst in this entire century. They're horrific. UCF's defense forces a lot of jump shots, and UCF has some personnel concerns. Isaiah Adams, Brandon Mahan, 2 of their top 6 or so players. I think that hurts their offensive output too. So I like the under there. I also, like I said, Michigan State -2.5. The under in Marquette and Creighton. This one got bet up a little last night, has been bet right back down. The big part here is Ryan Nembhard, the point guard for Creighton, is out. He's a big shot creator, a big tempo pusher. When he's out, they got to play a little slower, stay in the half court. I think that'll bear out in the afternoon game in the Big East. And of course, the dumpster dive pick of the week, the extra board.
Let's go.
Pick of the day. Yep, got ahead there. It's North Carolina Central, -2 against Maryland Eastern Shore. I talked yesterday, or excuse me, Tuesday, about like preseason expectations bets in the conference tournaments, like trending back to where I thought these teams would be in the preseason. And I think NC Central is just better than Eastern Shore. The Eastern Shore has a great defense, but NC Central has a bunch of great down transfers. Their coach is terrific, Lavelle Moten. He's won this MEAC tournament before. So just laying 2. This is a lot like the Marshall bet from 2 days ago that hit very easily. I think NC Central trend that same way. We'll see that bear out today.
Love it. The Big East is fascinating today. The big boys. So the big boys really come out today. Today's really like the best. I think today maybe besides next Thursday, Friday. I think today maybe is the 3rd best college basketball day of the year, Jim.
Yeah, you get all the quarterfinals. Like tomorrow's solid too. You get some semis.
It slims down though. It's not as heavy around the waist as it is today.
Yeah.
Right. Like I think every top team is playing today except the Big Ten. Their quarters are tomorrow. So there's some teams that are off. Yeah. But man, it's a heavy hitters lineup today.
It really is. That being said, I do have a couple spots that I like. I will give them out now. They've already been bet. We've already discussed a couple of them at length. One of them specifically in the Atlantic coast, the ACC, that I really love. So one of my favorite things to do this time of year is obviously digest the lines because they come out right when the games end. The previous team wins. The line comes out. You're facing a team that you haven't played, that hasn't played yet. And you could kind of tell, well, the teams that are not playing until tomorrow are obviously much better record-wise. And you can kind of tell when the line drops, all right, keep an eye on this one. Virginia Tech last night, down late to Clemson, come back, crazy overtime game. They come back and win. And then the line opens up against Notre Dame today, and it's like a pick 'em. And I'm like, well, that's weird because Notre Dame's like a 2 seed in the ACC, and Tech is, in my opinion, not at that level in terms of their record and maybe where they've played, but their expectations are certainly there. And it's all momentum. And I love Tech today. The line's flipped overnight. I got it at basically a pick 'em money line, -105. Now they're favored. And they're squarely on the bubble. They're still trying to play their way in. And to me, this is all momentum. This is all situational handicapping. The numbers might say Notre Dame's probably a favorite, but to me, I think Tech is gonna continue to carry over that momentum from yesterday. So we're on the Hokies on the money line, and I like 2 spots in the Mountain West. This conference has been so much fun to handicap this year. It's probably my favorite conference this year. Of like
fun to watch too.
Yeah.
It's such a good conference. They haven't won. How about this, Jim? I think we've talked about this before. They haven't won a tournament game in like 5 years since Nevada made that run of the Elite Eight, which is crazy to me.
I'd be shocked if that doesn't change this year. There's some good teams here.
They have to win a tournament game this year. But now they're in the Mountain West tournament. UNLV, Wyoming. I know you're torn on this one, Jim. I think the Rebels, they're at home. They want, it's technically actually Wyoming's the home team, but they're playing at the Thomas and Mack Center. They won 64-57 like a week ago, and they were +8 on the glass, +3 turnovers. So they just beat Wyoming. And I think UNLV, 6 wins over last year. They're improving. I think Kevin Kruger's a hell of a coach. I'm curious your thoughts on Kruger because I know you've watched this UNLV team in person. Obviously, Kruger, the son of the former great Lon Kruger, he played at UNLV, he had his great career, went to the Sweet 16 back in the day. I think Kevin is poised to, if they can get into the tournament somehow, make a run. They have 10 wins in a very tough Mountain West conference, but I know you're kind of on the Wyoming train here.
Yeah, that's what has me torn. Is I also like Wyoming, but I'm very high on UNLV too. Kruger's done an awesome job. They brought in I think 10 or 11 new players this year, a ton of transfers, a couple Big 12 guys. It made a lot of sense that it took time for it to come together. They had every right to improve as the season went on with a new coach, new players, and they did. They absolutely did. They got some big wins at home late in the season. Thomas and Mack has been friendly confines for them, and now they get to host this tournament. So yeah, I definitely see the angle there. Wyoming has the desperation of if they lose, they might have their bubble popped, but we saw that didn't matter yesterday for Wake Forest, for Xavier, and that could actually hurt them with feeling the pressure. So I actually
UNLV probably playing with house money at home too, to use Vegas term. The other one I like, Utah State, Rado State, Colorado State. You guys don't like Rado. Is Rado State a bad nickname for them? I love that, but I don't know.
I say Rado all the time.
Yeah,
I love Rado State. I like that.
Rado State. Yeah. We're rolling with it.
You have to be careful with fan bases, though. They're all very sensitive. Like if you call Georgetown G-Town, people get really angry. Like there's weird sensitivities in each fan base that you just gotta like kind of walk around like landmines.
People are professionally offended in today's society.
Yes.
So Rado State, they won in Logan like 2 weeks ago as 2.5-point underdogs. And now they're a slight favorite in this game. I actually saw it move up to 3. I bet this last night at 1.5.
Yeah.
I'll give it out at 1.5. If you bet it at 3 and they win by 2, I apologize.
He'll refund your money. He will.
I will personally Venmo you all refund by 2, and you bet the 3. So Rado State is hot. They won 8 of 9. Their only loss during that stretch was against that Runnin' Rebels team, which obviously has been playing very well. They've got the best offense in the Mountain West, lowest turnover percentage. They do struggle on the glass. I think that's where Utah State maybe can make up a little hay here. But Utah State played yesterday. They beat Air Force, so I don't want to say tired legs after just one game. They rested a bunch of their starters. It was a blowout. But I like the idea of Rado State, which in my opinion is a much more free-flowing team to catch Utah State the day after they play and not be both teams completely fresh. So I'm laying 1.5 with Rado State. Those are my 3 picks tonight. We're on tech. I'll give it out again, play of the day, because we got to break the play of the day streak somehow. So we'll just give out now.
Jared, we need to break the play of the day streak. We have to.
Of those 3 picks I gave out, Jim, which would you say is my best? It's tech, right? Tech's the best look of the day, I think.
Yeah, I'm just nervous about back-to-back off overtime for a thin team. Yeah. So I think Colorado State's the best bet one there. And my play of the day hit on Tuesday, so don't worry.
Let's go. Let's go.
Maybe I should change my play of the day to Rado State, but then I feel bad giving out a play of the day at -1.5, and it's 3.
Nah, right with the Hokies. Right with the Hokies. You're fine.
Yeah. Write it out.
We're going 3-0 today.
Fine, like now you're locked in, and then if you like kind of backpedal and change it to something else, it never hits ever.
Changing never
question
works.
In the chat, Jerry Stacks Michigan game. I feel like they come out hot for Juwan Howard. What do you think?
But I feel like Indiana's hungrier, and I went to Michigan, and I want them to win this game.
Well, obviously, you want them to win every game. You're a Michigan fan.
Yeah.
I think Indiana's going to have a lot of the same Wake Forest Xavier tendencies of nervousness in this one. They are probably like almost certainly out if they don't win this game. I saw an Indiana fan tweet yesterday. A funny guy. It was like, if every bubble outcome goes Indiana's way today, then they will lose in excruciating fashion tomorrow. And that's kind of what happened. The teams around them came back to their level, and it's set up for them. So now they have to drive the dagger into their fans' hearts. I lean Michigan.
Are you betting Michigan today?
Michigan, let's go. I mean, of course I'm betting Michigan. I always bet on my teams. Always. There's a couple other games, Jim, that I want to ask you about. One of them is UVA getting 4.5 versus NC. I just feel like this is a letdown situation for NC, and UVA just won a squeaker last night. Like, what are your thoughts on that matchup?
Yeah, sometimes if as long as the overtime is usually a concern on a team back to back, but sometimes there can be an edge to having played already, seen the court, gotten out there, gotten some of the nerves out, and North Carolina, it's a huge letdown. They celebrated that win over Duke as hard as any regular season win I've seen. Even just like their players, the way they took to social media chirping and posting clips of like, oh, this is what we did to Duke. I could see this being a letdown. Virginia also like more bubbly. North Carolina likely locked up their bid with a win at Duke. I lean towards the Who's there. I think they got a little bit of a coaching edge.
Yeah.
I would probably take the points with the Who's.
More bubbly. Oh, we have to mention Frisco Disco.
Oh, the Frisco Disco unders.
Oh, yeah. Jared, be honest, I got unlucky yesterday, Jim. I thought the UTEP one really was going to stay under. We were going to go 3-1. 84 points in the second half.
Yeah, they were 3-1 first halves, unders, and the one that lost, the Florida Atlantic game, lost by a half point in the first half under. So maybe that's where we should be looking is the first halves.
Too late.
Come out real slow. Maybe just double down in the first halves. I don't know.
That's true. Well, the one actually I haven't bet all 4 yet. The one that I haven't bet is Middle and UTEP because of the Josh Jefferson situation. And I got the alert. I sent it to you guys this morning. I don't know if he's going to play. I don't think we're going to know until game time, frankly. Right?
Yeah, they're not overly well reported on. No. I don't think we're going to get that scoop. Yeah.
But if he doesn't play, that line probably drops a point at least. It's 135.5 now. I kind of think he's not going to play, but that's total conjecture.
Yeah,
Total.
I kind of think it was like, off-court stuff that they're going to restore him for postseason, but I don't know. Like it's undisclosed. He could have a twisted ankle, or he could have showed up late to a practice. Like it could be either one of those things. We don't know.
The other ones are dropping like bricks, though. I bet Rice, North Texas last night 128.5. It's down to 125 now. Louisiana Tech, Western Kentucky. I bet 145. 146.
146.5, Jared.
And now it's down to 143.5. FAU UAB, I bet 143 this morning. It's down to 140 now. Wow. So they are dropping like bricks. Again, the ones I didn't bet.
Flies.
Dropping like flies. So I bet them all again today. We'll run it back one more time. I was on the fence about running it back. Jim convinced me last night. One more trip around the Frisco Disco tonight.
Yeah. Hey, if we were thinking it's an auto bet and we probably should have gone 3-1 yesterday, that's not a sign to give up. I think I agree.
It wasn't a losing day yesterday. It was definitely a trending winning day, and we just got a little unlucky with one.
Yeah.
And we ended up going 2-2. So the Frisco Disco lives on for another night.
Frisco Disco lives on. Jim, there's one more game I want to ask you about.
Sure. Yeah.
One more game I want to ask Jim about was Butler taking on Providence. I kind of like Providence laying the points, 7.5 in this spot, just because I felt like Baylor's coming off of that overtime, Butler's coming into this game after that overtime thriller against Xavier. And I just felt like that game was kind of a gift for them, right? Like shots were falling. Everything that they needed to happen is happening. And that's not going to happen 2 days in a row. What do you think about Providence? Like, I know we all say that they're a lucky team, but they keep winning and they keep playing good teams tough.
Yeah, that was so I mentioned the overtime on back-to-backs, an angle I'm usually a little spooked on. And yeah, Butler has that going. I don't know if they're able to bring it the same against Providence, but there's a rust factor maybe with Providence. They haven't played in over a week because they did not play over the weekend. They had the weekend off. Maybe that helps them get healthier. I know Al Durham was banged up.
Yes.
My concern is that Providence doesn't blow teams out. Like that's just not really their MO. Their MO is it's close. We're winning. You have no hope in the final 2 minutes. We will bury you. So the two games that these two played this year were decided by 8 total points. One of them went to overtime. Wow. Durham did not play. So that's the one concern I have, but I think the spot is definitely better for Providence.
Yeah.
I did the money line rollover. That's one of the ones we're doing the rollover experiment.
Rolling it over, baby.
Rollover. Wasn't there a nursery rhyme about rollover too?
There's
no. Are you saying Red Rover? Is that what
Red Rover, not roll over? Oh my God.
Wait, there was the nursery rhyme the other day about Bonnie's. That is a nursery rhyme. I looked it up. I sent it to Jack.
Oh my God.
It does exist. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. My Bonnie lies over the sea. The Bonnies, by the way, they play tomorrow, and we're very excited about them.
Yeah, he's very excited about that. We'll be talking about that game tomorrow. Jim, we so appreciate you coming on. We'll be chatting with you quite a bit. When's the next time you're on? Sometime early next week to chat about all of the
we've got our big show next week, the Big March Madness preview, and I think I'm on Wednesday. We're trying to backload my appearances since the game. There's no games Monday, Tuesday. What are we going to talk about? So,
we'll keep there's going to be a lot to talk about come Thursday, Friday next week, and I can't even wait. Let's get ready to go. Best of luck with your bets tonight, Jim. Thanks so much for coming on and giving us your wonderful insight as always.
Yep. Thanks for having me. Frisco Disco unders. Let's go.
Frisco Disco.
Frisco Disco, baby.
Fist pumps for the disco. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, Jared, let's take it from boys to men. There's only 2 NBA games on tonight. One of them is
NBA night.
One of them is the blockbuster game in Philly. Sixers taking on the Nets. Is there any, I feel like people have had this game circled on their calendars since the James Harden, Ben Simmons trade. Ben Simmons not going to be playing in tonight's game, but James Harden going up against KD. The Sixers have only lost 1 game since the All-Star break, and that was against the Miami Heat. What is your angle for this game, or how do you kind of see this one playing out? Because it's going to be very interesting.
I think Joel Embiid's going to have a big night.
Yeah.
That would be the only angle that I have for you. Because you get James Harden, you get KD, there's going to be some, I don't want to say animosity, but it was a very unpeaceful, not a very harmonious exit for Mr. Harden. Yeah. He's talked his way out of 2 teams in the last 2 years. And I bet there's a lot of people in that Nets locker room that are like, dude, we just made this run. We were so close last year.
Yeah.
What the hell, man? Like, And so I think that matchup is going to be fascinating to watch. I think the one it's I can't really call Joel Embiid an X factor, but when you're playing with Harden and Durant and there's this weird, post-trade bad blood, Joel Embiid might kind of slip under the radar a little bit with what his impact is going to be on this game. So I would say Embiid having a big night is probably the only angle for me here. Yeah. The other game I think is more interesting, frankly. I think this would be a Western Conference final preview right here, Golden State and Denver. And Denver played really well last night, but I think they left a little bit in the tank knowing that they had this game against Golden State tonight. They only won by 6. Our friend Scal did cover that number. Didn't cover with the Hawks game, but I thought your Hawks did put up a valiant effort in Milwaukee, but the Bucks are better right now, and I think that's fair to say. But tonight,
there's a lot of technical fouls called at the end of that game. That's all.
Yeah,
a lot of questionable
calls. I hate to see that. I would say Golden State to me is a little bit ripe tonight for an upset because the line's telling me that Denver might be the better, sharper side. Especially because Golden State opened as a very short favorite, and the line moved despite the fact that Denver played last night. So that is interesting to me. Did Golden State play last night? I don't know if they did. I don't think they did.
Yeah, I don't think they played last night. There
you go. There's your sharp angle of the night. I think the
angle on the 2 games that we have going on. Another thing though, Kyrie Irving is going to be playing, right? Because he's playing in Philly. He's coming off of that game in Charlotte where he dropped 50. He dropped 50 points in Charlotte in his last game. So that's going to be interesting to see the dynamic between him and KD going up against Joel Embiid and James Harden. I'm actually really looking forward to both of these games tonight. Yeah. So many games. I need like 20 screens to be able to keep up with everything.
I only have 4, and I feel like I'm like overwhelmed.
Not enough.
Well, this is a personal thing, but when I have all 4 screens on and I'm watching 4 basketball games at the same time, it's like my brain is like, it's like a lot. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to process. Because think about how fast.
You almost forget what game is on which screen.
You think about how fast basketball moves. Boom. It's like I can't really. My brain can't work that fast. It's like
your fast twitch eye muscles are like going.
It's insane. I feel like we're all gonna have like I need like a night away from sports after the tournament. I know that sounds crazy. After the tournament,
that's going to be a while, Jared. It's going to be a minute before you get one of those. So.
Multiple minutes.
It's going to be a few minutes. 52 years. Okay, let's get into our best bets of the day. Pickswise 3-star play of the day. So if we go to pickswise.com website, who we got for 3-star?
There's a few on here today, actually.
Give me like the 2 best, and then we'll have people go.
All right, ready? Here we go.
Yeah.
So Lock Mamba is on the same side as one of Jim Root's picks. Yep. I'll leave it there. That's very positive for not only Lock Mamba, but also for Jim Root, because those 2 guys are very smart. Mark Zinno checking in with a 3-star play today on the Nets Sixers game. I'll leave it there. You can go check it out. There's also some niche 3-star plays today. We got Ricky Diamond checking in on Indian Wells. Tennis. Big tennis girl. You like tennis?
Tennis gal. Did you see Nikola Jokic or Nikola? Whatever.
You got it. You can do it.
Novak. I said Nikola Jokic.
Nikola Jokic.
Novak Djokovic might not be playing here in the U.S. He's like not allowed into the country.
Oh, I don't want to get into the whole vaccine shit.
I know, it's just crazy.
It is. But Ricky Diamond's got something on Indian Wells. Very well-known name playing today. Or actually, I think it's to win the entire tournament, but still take a look at it.
Okay.
And our buddy Joe Casey checking in across the pond.
There's a lot of 3-star plays today.
It really is. I'm tailing this one on Newcastle Southampton in the English Premier League. I will be tailing this one. We haven't done a lot of kick picks lately. Obviously, we've been preoccupied with college hoops. We'll get back to the kick picks in a week or so. But I will be tailing Joe Casey's pick. So there's a bunch today. Take your pick.
Go to Pickswise.com. Take your pick at Pickswise.com. Read the reasonings why. Decide which one or all of them that you want to bet heading into tonight. Okay, our best bets of the day. Jared, I'll let you talk first about your Vatek money line.
So we talked a little bit about the ACC earlier. Insane day of ACC college basketball action at the Barclays Center last night. Wake Forest on the bubble, lost outright to Boston College. Virginia Tech on the bubble.
Yeah, I know. I was on that game.
I bet it live at 1.5. I thought we were great. They were up 10 with like 6 minutes left, and they blew the game. Virginia Tech squarely on the bubble against Clemson. Needed overtime. But now the line kind of flips on them, and they get over that hump where they were tight against Clemson. They get the buzzer beater. They win the game. They move on to the next round. They get Notre Dame, who is record-wise a better team, but the line was pick 'em, and now they're favored. I think this is a situational dream spot for Virginia Tech where the line is begging you to take Notre Dame, and we're not going to bite because I think this Virginia Tech team, who, by the way, beat Notre Dame 79-73 in Blacksburg about a month and a half ago. Notre Dame covered. It was a +7 line. Now it's a pick 'em. I think Virginia Tech is a better team than Notre Dame, and I think they're going to prove it today. I think they carry over the momentum of last night. And I think Justin Mutz, who had 24-7 in that win over the Irish a couple months ago, he only had 9 points yesterday. He was kind of held in check by a athletic Clemson front line. Notre Dame really struggles up front, and they struggle to rebound. They struggle on the glass. I think Justin Mutz is going to have a big game. And Storm Murphy, awesome name drop.
Storm. If you name your kid Storm, they're going to be a G. Like, that's it.
They're going to be a G. So Storm Murphy has already played in the NCAA tournament with Wofford 3 years ago.
Yeah.
They beat Seton Hall in that first round game. He is a very talented, experienced player. He didn't play great yesterday in the second half either.
Yeah.
I think Murphy and Mutz, the M&M boys, have big games for Tech, and I think the Hokies beat Notre Dame and get into the semifinals of the ACC.
Let's go, baby. Pickswise, play of the day, our best bets of the day. My best bet, Jared, this is our week, or this is our day. We're going to bounce back today. I just have a good feeling about it. Today's the day. The Avs are taking on the Carolina Hurricanes in Raleigh. Avs, 3-way money line at +140. Not often this season can you get the Avs at a plus money number. So I am jumping on top of the Avs 3-way money line at +140. This is a potential Stanley Cup final matchup. The Avs have the best record in the NHL. They're the first in the Central. The Canes have won their last 2 back-to-back games. They're sitting at first in the Metro right now. The Avalanche are one of the most dominant offensive teams this season. They're averaging 3.91 goals per game. They've scored 8 goals in their last 2 games. The top line of McKinnon, Rantanen, and Landeskog, they've combined for 76 goals and 110 assists on the season. They are the best line in hockey, hands down. Cale Makar, Devon Taves added 33 goals, 77 assists from the point. These are defensemen that have 33 goals and 77 assists. Defense is stellar too. They're only allowing 2.88 goals per game this season. And Darcy Kemper, I kind of doubted him a little bit at the beginning of the season, but he's been pretty solid between the pipes. .917 save percentage, 2.57 goals against average. The Canes defense has been their bread and butter for the season. 2.93 goals per game they're allowing right now. And Frederik Andersen is one of the league's best goalies, I would say, behind Shesterkin this season. He has a .928 save percentage, 2.08 goals against average. Offensively, they're scoring 3.39 goals per game, but the Avs are going to bounce back from their last loss in this one. The top line for me is just unstoppable. And with the depth that they have, other than their top line, the offense is really going to put the Canes defense to the test. And the Canes offense won't be able to get past the likes of Makar and company, Darcy Kemper. Avs on the road, 3-way money line at +140. Lock it in. I can always trust the Avs to get me back on a streak. Game 1 of the streak, Jared, of play of the days, start tonight.
Do you want me to update the records, or do you want me to just leave that?
Leave it, and we'll talk about it tomorrow.
We'll talk about it tomorrow. Let's just leave it at this. You're still up a shitload of units.
How many units? I want to know.
21.18 units.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
I'm down a couple units. Glaze is bringing up the caboose. Zeno's actually been hot with play of the days. That Zeno, that sharp.
Yeah, Mark Zeno, man.
That Mark Zeno. And he's got a 3-star play on the site today, too, which you don't see him post 3 stars too often. So
I know. We were actually talking about it. He goes, I just want to make sure when I give out a 3-star play that it is like a real, genuine 3-star play. So you know when he has a 3-star play, guys, it is one of his best bets because he doesn't take 3 stars.
I don't do it much either. First of all, like they don't want, like we have a lot of really smart cappers that are very good. So they want those guys to get the 3 stars. But it is a very... It's hard. I say this all the time. Handicapping the games is not what's hard. The hard part is taking the 5 or 6 plays that we give out on a show, 3, 4, 5, whatever picks we give on the show, and designating one of all of them as the best.
The best bet.
We all have children. We don't want to have favorites. All of our children we love them all.
They say that, but
you're the favorite. You're the favorite in your family.
My brother is definitely the favorite. He's the cutest. Sorry, Dad. I know you're watching the show. He watches every day. It's fine.
What's up, Mr. Tavara? Had a great week at the craps table.
Yeah, we'll talk to you about our ACC picks tomorrow. Okay. That's it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Jared Smith, Lauren Jabara. Best of luck tonight, you guys, especially with college basketball. One of the third best college basketball night of the season.
Top 5. Mount Rushmore college basketball.
Happening right now. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's get it. Let's bet it.